Namaskaram. Welcome to yet another episode of Arimugam. Today we have with us an accomplished dancer, teacher, choreographer, Srimati Deepa Rajmani, who has her dance school Srilaya in Pleasanton, California. She has moved from Boston to Bay Area recently and have been continuing with her dance classes, performances, etc. Welcome to our program, Deepa ji. Thank you so much for coming.
Namaskaram. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Could you please tell us your learning experience, journey, the style of dance? I know it's Bharatanatyam. Which bani you have learned, your gurus, and your experience of learning?
Thank you so much. As I said, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. I would like to thank all my gurus in the outset for having given me this day so I can be here and talk about Bharatanatyam, which is my passion, and also to Shanmukha Theatres, Rayanana, for organizing this. It's a wonderful platform. We were just sitting outside and we met so many other dancers. It was a nice thing to just meet everybody in the Bay Area. And I represent Srilaya School of Dance. That's our Bharatanatyam dance school in Pleasanton, California. And I have, it's a long journey from where I started. As a kid, I'm from the storehouse of Bharatanatyam, which is Chennai, which is Tamil Nadu, where even if you're not a dancer, even if you're not a student of dance, you hear, you see, and those days when I was a kid, Doordarshan was a big deal, right? So they had Bharatanatyam dance performances, classical music performances, on a weekly basis. So you kind of imbibe that culture.
It becomes part of your life.
Yes, right? It was like that when I grew up. I didn't even know how I got attracted to Bharatanatyam, probably by seeing all these, right? You don't have to really go to a kacheri, but you have it around you. So that's where it started. I started at a age of 7 or something when I said to my mom, I have to go. I have to start learning Bharatanatyam. I love it so much. And I started with a wonderful guru, Guru Krishna Kumar, and he taught us the Varuvur style. Bani. At that time, when I was a kid, I wasn't sure what this style meant. Bharatanatyam just attracted me. And he was a very, very wonderful teacher in the sense that he would show you how to see, how to look when he's just teaching Adavas. Adavas are the basic steps, right? When you put it in a dance, you have to look in a certain way. You have to have your body move in a certain way. But my teacher, when I was small, he used to show it like that. You have to just look like that. And he had expressions even for Adavas. So it was fun. And when I came back from my classes, and my brother used to sit and watch me, and he'd say, why is your face different? Why is your face not normal? Why is it changed? So I would just try to imitate exactly what he taught me.
I think as a child, it excites you, right? To bring out when the teacher teaches in a different way like that.
Yes.
It's not just steps, you're doing much more.
Yeah. And I used to have the same face that I got now, right? When I normally sit, you won't see the passion, that excitement. When I talk about Bharatanatyam, it happens. And the same thing happened when I was a kid. When I came back from a class, I showed the new steps that I learned. It'll show in my face. It'll be different. So my brother used to notice that. He's very, very, he notices everything. So he would say, you look different when you dance. So it was like that. It started off with a very, very good guru, very great personality. And then there was a big break. In India, everything is about, getting into a professional course, so you have to have your job to sustain everything, though the culture is a passion.
When it came to job, you are professional as a bioinformatician, yes. So along with your professional work, you're pursuing a passion now, right?
Yes. So that took priority at some point, and then I had to kind of put dance in the background, just go watch. Practice was less and less. Then when I came back here and my life was settled, I had a profession to carry on with. Then I said, I have to look back. I have to get my passion back into my life. And then I started with another guru here in the East Coast, Srimati Purnima Risbut. She taught Tanjore style. So Tanjore style is, in my mind, the mother style. And all other styles are branches from there. So that's how I feel about it. So she taught me Tanjore style, and it was not very hard to grasp because styles are subtle differences in Bharatanatyam.
The basics are the same.
Yeah,
right?
the flavors are different, but it was easy to catch on.
Okay.
She, with her, because I was already now an adult and I knew what the differences in flavors are.
Right.
And also, I could participate more in at an advanced level, more dance dramas, performances, and things like that with her.
Could you just say as the experiences or the number of stages you have performed, the dance dramas or the accomplishment, your experience in, like you mentioned, the dramas and the dance where you have done.
Yeah.
Could you just tell us about
I wouldn't say it's too glamorous because, as I said, dance is my passion. I just take it up when I really feel like I should do something exciting. When I was a small kid with Guru Krishna Kumar, we did a program in Doordarshan, which is a national television there. It was a small story which was showing a small story which is told to kids. It is called, if I translate it in English, it is called Deer, Crow, and a Fox.
Okay, could you say that in Tamil?
It's called Man Kagamum Nariyum.
Okay.
So that is the dance drama that we did for the Doordarshan. It was one whole day that we went there. We practiced many days before that, but then it was so much fun. There was this special effects and all that. As a small 9-year-old kid, I was like thoroughly enjoying. And it was completely a Bharatanatyam dance drama. It was not like just you go there and talk. It was completely Bharatanatyam, full length, which was so exciting to me at that time. And after I came here, I have participated in my guru's Abhignana Shakuntalam, which was very well received in the East Coast. And then there have been many more dance dramas. On an annual basis, she used to make many dance dramas, not just annual day programs. She would get music done from India. She would do that, and then it'll be fun to participate.
That must have been a lot of learning experience.
Yes, yeah. Then I was also fortunate to be a part of Madurai R. Muralidharan's Sivagami in Sabadam dance drama, where I was the wife of the king. So it was Abhinaya part. It was not that the group part, but it was special to me because then I got to learn from him what he expects. So he's a big guru, right? He specializes in writing and producing dance dramas. His special effects are amazing. He brings elephants into the stage. Makeshift elephants on stage and everything. So that was a very nice experience to be there, to be on a solo part in his dance drama, and that is something that I will always cherish. Right. So
how is dance life in the pandemic with teaching as well as performing? I know it's all just a camera, you can perform from anywhere and anytime. I think here particularly we have been able to host a lot of online shows. Kids have been performing. How was it for your dance school?
It is challenging to teach small kids. I can call out on somebody, their internet will be kind of suffering, so things like that. But the kids have put up really well with this. They have really tried hard to be there in time, even if I go a little longer, they are very tired at the end of the day, but they still do it. And whenever I say there is a program, online program that you can do, they are so happy. They want to put extra hours of practice and do it. And thanks to Shanmuga Theatres again, because during the pandemic, everything was shut down. And we still had chance to practice and perform because of the stage that Shanmuga Theatres provided. There were a lot of programs where my kids could participate in. So it was tough, but it was not as tough as I thought it would be.
Have you done Arangetram or Rangapravesham, like we say? And how has it been for you as an experience? And were you very young when you did that? Or what has changed in you post your Arangetram? And do you do that for your kids? How important it is for every student to do one?
Arangetram, I think, is something which people have to pick. If they are ready, they have to do it. Back in India, when I was a kid, it was not a thing that everybody had to do it. It is like, first of all, it is a very time-consuming effort. It's amalgam. It's like 2 hours, 2.5 hours worth of dance that you will be performing. So you need to put in that much of practice.
Right.
That person, whoever is taking that up, has to put in that effort.
Right.
But even before that, the kid has to be ready, right? There is the Anga Shuddhi, there is the talam that you have to keep. The abhinaya has to flow when the talam is being kept. So there's a lot in preparation for the Arangetram. Only if you're ready. Like for example, if the talam is kept, then you do a Chalanga Puja for that kid. If the basic pieces of the puzzle are in place, you do the Arangetram.
Okay.
If that kid has the time to put in that effort to do it. So I'm not a very established, experienced school to say that in my experience that this is in my mind, this is what is the way it should be done.
So have students done here under your school Arangetrams?
I just had my daughter's Arangetram, which is my debut Arangetram.
Okay, that must be extra special.
It is extra special, and then the reason I'm happy you asked me this question is that for an Arangetram, I think it's a very special thing. The kids should be allowed to choose what they want to dance for.
Okay.
Especially when they are almost close to adulthood or when they are close to college, they know what songs they like. So for this Arangetram, everything was brand new. All the dances that she learned were brand new. And all of them, I had the happiness of choreographing for her, with her. Making sure that it fell in place exactly the way I want. And because she's my daughter, we are there the whole time together. And the pandemic made sure that we were there the whole time together.
So coming to pandemic, how was the music part managed in this pandemic for the Arangetram? For the
Arangetram, we couldn't get anybody from India, obviously. And we weren't planning on it because fortunately, Bay Area is so rich in culture. You have not only many teachers who teach dance, there are teachers who teach music, violin, flute, everything. You just ask for a thing, it's there in the Bay Area. So all my musicians were local. Will you believe that they were within 10 miles of my house? All the instruments playing musicians. The vocalist was my own sister. So it was like a family gathering. So it was nice. It was not that difficult to find the musicians or the orchestra here.
So now that we have everything been recorded, even the classes, you teach even a small piece, even outside Zoom. Let's go back to the, pre-COVID time. Compared to how we used to learn, we would just watch our teachers. We have to remember what we learned the next class. Here, everything is captured in the phone. Even if a new step is taught, it has to be on phone. Otherwise, the next day, the kids don't really remember it. What do you think it's a plus and minus like?
So I think it's a good thing for them to record it, because if they have the intention to learn, that's when they record it. If they're anyway forgetful, they don't care, they're not going to want to do that. So I think whatever it takes. And because of all this recording, you see the standard of music going up in music students, right? You have so much, you just put it on, you just keep listening, you know the talam, you know the shruti, everything is said because of that. I think it's a blessing.
We all enjoy watching other art forms and we try to connect, sometimes we recognize the stories they try to say. Do you encourage your students to learn other art forms as well? Or do you think one should concentrate on one particular art form they would like to pursue?
I usually get kids who are like kindergartners, right? At that point, you cannot have multiple art forms which will confuse them. They can watch, like I said, my interest in Bharatanatyam was because it was happening around me. So they can watch what art form interests them the most, and they should get started with the basics on that, I think. Once they are not confusable at some stage, they are like strong in their basics, they can explore. They can see this and that. Oh, I like this part. Like for example, in Bharatanatyam itself, the art form is structured. It's a core that is immutable. You have that core.
Yeah.
And then there are these different styles, right? Varur style, Pandanallur style. All those are flexible.
Okay.
You like the jumps and leaps are very popular for Kalakshetra style. It's not like you cannot do it in
Right.
Varur style, right? Varur style is famous for its lightning, jatis and everything. But then I like the jumps, I will do that.
Okay.
So things like that, where when you know what is the core, what is the structure, your tradition that you're holding to, then when you have that maturity, I think you can explore and fuse things. But then, as I said, as a dancer, I would do that. As a teacher, I think I have to take it and pass it on as it is given to me.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's too confusing for the kids. What is this I'm learning?
Okay. How much do you encourage your students or make them watch programs? Like, not just the gurus or the experiences, all ages. It's always, I think it's enriching for them, right? How do you encourage that?
There is this, I think the music teachers adhere to this more.
Okay.
They make the kids watch.
Okay.
Not just their school, they have this other schools. The more you listen, the more you know.
Okay. As we come to the end of the program, I would like to ask you, how can, if people want to contact your dance school, how are you reachable? Could you please give us the details?
My school is called Srileya School of Dance, and there is a website, srileya.com.
Okay.
And people have, they can submit their queries there, and it's pretty straightforward if you just search srileya.com. That is how the best way to reach me.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming to Arimugam and being part of Shanmuga Theatre's program.
Thank you so much for having me, and thanks for those wonderful questions.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Before I finish, I would like to say that the students, I just came across this Sanskrit shlokam, which was very recently. It was about how a student should be, the 5 lakshanas of a student. The observation skill of the student has to be like that of a crow, like crow flies up there, but then it's looking at some small food pretzel there, it doesn't miss it. Goes there and picks it up. So the teacher is giving so much. The student has to be like that, observing what is the teacher saying. Is there a small little bit I'm missing? So that is one important thing.
Okay.
The second thing is the quickness, alertness, like a crane. It's just standing there like a statue, watching what's happening, and then a fish just goes by. It immediately grabs that. So that, and then a light sleeper, so you don't sleep, doze off, and completely forget what happened. You even in your sleep, you're consciously learning things.
Yeah. Okay.
And then don't get too much interested in food, and be ready to sacrifice. Go away from your comfort zone and learn. Those are the 5 lakshanas that I saw, and it felt like kids should know this. I just wanted to say this before I ended. The 5 lakshanas that the students have to keep in mind if they have to get the most out of their teachers, and hard work and practice. Yeah. Thank you so much.